from a bad place, oh yeah. Tryna be a better me just for you. But it ain't easy, it's hard to get used to. Minding my own business, I'm not worried about what he do. Cause nowadays all it is to be see-through. I always said this is that I'm staying around people. Finding my own path like I'm writing my own sequel. Two-faced people all around, they be evil. 2021, you can never trust nobody. Good and bad thoughts on my mind, they be crowded. Wishing to get past his limits, then he see he bought it. Family work hard, but I never catch them found it. Came a long way in my dream, now I be drowning. They dying out here, got some hearts pounded. What they talented, my passion, I haven't found it. Yeah, in my home, I was never ever doubted. I'm here from a bad place, oh yeah. Tryna be a better me just for you. But it ain't easy, it's hard to get used to. Minding my own business, I'm not worried about what he do. Cause nowadays all in successful I feel. All the memories come flooding, but hit different. I've changed a lot, friends list got thinner. Ain't tripping about enemies, true and stay hidden. He was lurking, so we made sure he went missing. Told the fakers to leave, but they wouldn't listen, they faulty. Now they gotta watch me glisten, they ain't silent. Like some snakes, they stay hissing. Spreading words and rumors, they gon' keep dissing. Coming from a bad place, oh yeah. Tryna be a better me just for you. But it ain't easy, it's hard to get used to. Minding my own business, I'm not worried about what he do. Cause nowadays all in to be see-through. I always said this is that I'm staying around people. Finding my own path like I'm running.
Good evening to each and everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Sorry if I'm a little bit hoarse. Your boy GSC Govan is back again with you guys with another video. It's been a minute. Just coming back from the Real Madrid game, not even half an hour good, just back in the house. And I said, while the content is fresh in mind, I'm just ready to drop it, talk about the game a little bit, what I learned from the game. And, my voice is kind of like there, because the stadium and the atmosphere was amazing. It was something amazing, man. It was rocking. Shout out to the Charlotte that host the game, the police, the city, and everything. Make it be a very very organized, venue. Was really really good. The traffic wasn't that bad either. They have everything under control. They make everything flow smoothly. It was an experience. For me, to be quite honest, I went there before, when Chelsea played Charlotte, so it's not my first time there, but the way they handle the crowd, because the crowd was 62,000, it was 62,000 in the stadium, it was rocking. A lot of neutral fans, a lot of Real Madrid fans, the game itself was amazing. Man, I know you guys, some of you guys probably watching on the TV, but I'm telling you, man, to be there in that stadium, it was something different. It was something magnificent. The players, all from both teams, was getting a lot of love from the supporter, except, when Nani was in the last kick of the game with Nani Madueke, one of the last kick of the game, but I'm telling you, the organizer, job well done. You guys did a wonderful job. It was amazing. It was something magnificent. So I did enjoy it. And I want to say thank you, Charlotte, for the little banners that you guys gave us. While we're going in the stadium, it's really nice. Something that to keep for souvenirs. But it was overall. As I'm talking about the game, the atmosphere, it flows smoothly. It's as I said earlier, everything was organized. Everything was properly done. Not gonna lie to you, no problem at all with nothing at all. It just flows smoothly. But the journey, man, was a good journey. I did enjoy the journey. And I really, really appreciate, all the fans that I meet, and, all the discussion that we got. It was really, really nice. Atmosphere, as I said earlier, was one of a kind. You know, the span the Barcelona fans, they were amazing. They were loud because they outnumber us. You know, we were like a small fish dropping to some in a big pan. You know, but we did do our thing. You know, we try to be loud as possible. You know, we definitely tried. You know, try to do what we can do. You know, but as I said, they outnumber us, but we still give it a go. You know, we never give up. You know, we still do our thing. You know, still make a lot of noise. You know, we still try to be, you know, as vocal as we can. You know, we shout as loud as possible. You know, we never give in. We never give up. You know, the first goal was offside, clear offside. You know, unfortunate that the linesman was way behind. You know, he didn't caught it, to be quite honest. But it was clear offside. You know, up to a blind person would have seen that one. But that's for another day because you know Chelsea beat themselves in that game because the game was a magnificent game. You know, still seeing a lot of this is not going to be a long stream, guys. You know, a bit fresh from the game. I don't know if you notice my voice is a little bit you know, under the weather because as I said, you know, it was so magnificent in that stadium, you know, and we have to shout as loud as possible, you know, to try to outdo the magisterial, you know, the Madrid fans because there were so many, you know, so we have to shout as loud as possible to see if we can make up some numbers, you know. But overall, you know, as I said, you know, it was rocking in that stadium. You know, the vibes between both fans. You know, the joy. You know, that both set of fans was given. You know, while the game was going on and at half times, and you know, it's just like it's just an atmosphere. So something that you will take with you forever. You know, it was a dream match for me, to be honest. You know, Real Madrid is one of the biggest team in the world, and you know we all know Chelsea is one of the biggest team in the world. You know, but it's a joy, man. Big up, big up, big up, bro, big up, bro. I didn't know you were back, so that's why I didn't end up get to send you the link. You know, I appreciate you dropping in, bro. I really appreciate you, bro. You know, I'm just back from the game, you know, so I'm gonna give my little takes on the game because I'm not gonna stream for that long today, you know, because my voice is seems like it's on its way out, you know, but I'm gonna give my takes on the game on what I see in the game and where we need to improve in the game, yeah, you know, where we can improve and all of that because I know to watch it on TV, you know, and sit there and I was so close to the Chelsea bench and I can hear when the coach shouting, you know, when players not following the instruction or some players was not doing exactly what they told to do, you know, it's a little bit worrying, a little bit concerning. You know, I know it's a preseason game, but wondering if some of these players, for me right now, it's a different take, you know, for to watch it and to see it live and to see some of the stuff, you know, in real times, you know, a few players that I really expect better from, you know, and I'm definitely don't want to throw in a player under the bus, you know, because you know that's not my style over here. But you know, there's a lot that I take in because my biggest interest was to fully take in each and everything that I see happen in the game, you know, and my biggest concern, you know, it's with the defensive line, but not only just the defensive line, you know, the overall package, you know, going forward, moving the ball, we can see that we got something, you know, there, but we still got a big concern, you know. And then the manager come out and what he said, you know, so we're gonna dive down into it, you know, and start off probably with the players, you know, and give a lot of my players thought, you know. I heard a big account was saying that Reece James have a bad performance, And being there and see for myself, Reece James have one of the best game that for this long time, because Vinny, he was scared to take Reece James on. So let me start with Reece James because he's the captain. I saw Vinny was scared to take Reece James on. So they were overloading Reece James' side. So Reece James was always going up against 2 against 1. Vinny and Rodri was right there. Both of them was right there, and Reece James at all times. They try to overload that side, but Reece James was honestly was keeping up. But the biggest problem was when Levi to come over and support Reece James. There was a big gap. So that's where my concern was. My concern was with I'm gonna start with the first with my first one person that I really want to talk about is Noni Madueke. You know, I know that a lot of us gonna say that Noni Madueke is a 1v1 demon. Noni Madueke is a 1v1 this or a 1v1 that. But for me, you know, up against Real Madrid and the likes of Rudiger, let me see something different. Yes, Noni Madueke is all of that we all said. But Noni Madueke, for me, he worry more about his image than what he's supposed to do on the pitch. He's too much up in his head. And for me, I don't think that's a Chelsea type of player. So he needs to get out of his head, to be quite honest. If he wanna perform well and if he wanna have a wonderful season, he needs to get out of his head. None is spend more time pulling his pants down and fixing himself on the pitch more than how he's tend to deliver what the manager wants. And that's just my take on Nani Madueke. He did score the goal. I'm not saying he didn't. Sometimes he get the ball when he's supposed to speed it up. He slow it down. When he's supposed to slow it down, he speed it up. So Nani Madueke have to get these aspects of his game correctly if you want to be a starter in Chelsea team. I don't think that the fluid game that Chelsea want to play, I don't think Nani Madueke right now, to be quite honest, is the man. When the game was starting, the first thing I said that Chelsea gonna need some wingers, some new wingers. And someone in the stadium said to me, why Chelsea need new wingers when we got so many wingers? And I keep on, I was like, yeah, we do got wingers, but you have to look our wingers play. Our wingers is not consistent. And Nani consistent try to go down the wing, but what he's doing when he go down the wing? You tend to either lose the ball because he's take too long, to hi Miss Malena. How you doing, Miss? Yeah, I'm just coming back from the game, so I'm just giving my take on what I see in the game. On Chelsea side, congratulations. I saw you guys beat Leverkusen 4 goals to 1. I didn't get to finish all the games, so I don't know if it's the same scoreline or the game is completely finished because I didn't finish, watching it because I was getting myself prepared for the show. But I really appreciate you stopping by. And I have you guys my favorite to win the Premier League this season. So I hope you know that I have you guys as the favorite. But with Nani Madueke, he's a good player. I have nothing to say bad about Nani Madueke, but I think that he's overdoing it because either he want to prove a point, and he's trying too much to prove a point where he's up in his head. And I don't think that with this type of behavior, and indiscipline in the way how he want to play and flashing his hand all over the park when something don't go his way, I don't think that that this gonna help him, in the longer run, because he still have to prove himself, to be up there in the conversation. He needs to have a breakout season, putting down a good performance by beating players, without any end product don't really count in my take. Football is not all about taking and dribbling. Football is about your assists or your goals, the end product. And that's my biggest concern with Noni Madueke. I know a lot of Chelsea fans gonna say what he's talking about because I'm always being positive. I'm not being negative right here. I'm just talking exactly how I see it. And the way how I see it right now, Nadi Madueke, it's definitely up too much up in himself, trying to be Mr. Cutie or Mr. Cute guy. Football don't play with Mr. Cute guy on the pitch. You have to get down, you have to be dirty. You have to get down and get dirty. And that's how the game, I know the game play. You have to get dirty. You have to willing to fight for the ball. Every time you lose the ball, he's stuck there holding up his hand or fanning off the referee, fanning off someone. So it's for me, Nadi Madueke is an indisciplined player because in his head, you think that he's the greatest player in the world, and you do not he don't halfway that journey yet. That's my biggest take on it. He's not halfway that journey yet. He's still got a long way to go because, as I'm saying, the end product, you have to have the end product. You have to show that you can do like a Cole Palmer, at least get a 10 goal to at least 6 assists for this upcoming season, to can claim and said, okay, and then you have to end up repeating it. None in Madueke still haven't have a breakout season. So none in Madueke need, to stop up like he's a superstar, and work towards to being a superstar. That's my take on Nadi Madueke. You haven't get there yet. So you definitely have to fight your way to get to that stage. But for right now, the way it's going, the way I always think that he's a world class player, and he's not as yet. And I saw him struggle with Rudiger, and that's just my take. I saw Rudiger showing them the way how you commit yourself on the pitch. Rudiger show himself here and about, just to stop ball from going behind. And that's what I didn't get from a lot of these Chelsea players, especially Nodi Madueke. Always flashing his hand, always holding up his hand, they're alive because that when the camera, as soon as the play moved, the camera followed the ball. So there's a lot of things that we don't see, like when you're at the game live, and that's one of the biggest take I take from Nodi Madueke. But overall, I'm gonna say he's a good player because he scored a good header, good ball from Enzo, when he put it away. The first goal that Real Madrid scored was a clear offside, was very, very, very clear. It wasn't even close. If VAR was there, the linesman was coming from too deep, to be quite honest. He wasn't in line with the play, so he could never see it. By the time when he's trying to caught up, it was too late. So he got no help right there. So definitely, that's a big take for me. It was an offside. On a regular day, it would have get called back. But as I said, preseason is not something that I really dwell too much on because preseason is just for me is just another day. Something for the players to make mistake and to grow from and to learn. Learn different tactics that the manager want to bring. So I don't take it in too deeply. I'm gonna go with Balashili now. Balashili is one that show again no commitment, no desire. That second goal, he was right there. Like when I said right there, he slowed down. And as a defender, you have to go cover that near post because the player only got one option when he go on the keepers, try to slot the ball in. And the ball was rolling like my grandma hit that ball. Like my grandma that I haven't known because she died when I was like 4 or 3 years old, and she would have been 90 something, almost 100 years old right now. And the way that ball trickled in the goal, I think my grandma could have walked and catch it. So that to show you that the commitment that Balashili showed me, he didn't put any desire to try to block the ball or nothing. You see, he just like stood there when he saw the keeper go. He just stood there instead of go closer to can block the shot because it was not even a shot. It was just a roll in. He could have at least tried to block it, but he did not. And that was a goal that given to Real Madrid again. As I said, the referee make a big mistake because the first goal for me was a clear offside. It was something that I really look at, multiple times. Even when they do the replay on the big screen, you can see that it was clear offside. But as I said, it's preseason. You know, take nothing away from it, but I just look at it as a preseason mistake made. You know, the season is like right around the corner. Some of these players, to be quite honest, look like they're not ready yet. First half, Levi Colwell seems like he was a shadow of himself, or probably because he have to be coming over to help Reece James. I'm not gonna put too much on him right there because it did have to be coming to help Reece James because as I said, every time anybody way could get the ball and he lose it, when he lose it, it's like he's there holding up his hand, flashing his hand, and complaining, a lot. Like none complain a lot. Every single pass that they try to give him or they didn't give to him, they turn it and give it to someone else. He complained, his hand is flashing here and there, like I'm the man, I'm the star, and you need to wake up because you're not no star until you start to bring back Chelsea to the promised land. So for me, as I'm saying, and I'm bashing the player, but I need to see more from him. If you're gonna represent Chelsea, at least show some fighting spirit, just like William. I know none of you haven't reached William City status in Chelsea, but William was a winger that he did every part of the game. With his energy, he tracked back, he pushed. He dictate the game. And for me, that's my biggest concern of that game is the wingers, man. The wingers for Chelsea is horrible, horrible. Watching them live, I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't gonna lie. Levi Colwell, as I said, first half, looked like a shadow of himself. Looked like he wasn't comfortable playing as a right-sided or in the center of the defense. Balashir was more, to the left. Levi was more on the inside. Reece James was more on the right. It seemed probably wasn't confident or probably just tired because in preseason these players they push them a lot. They push you a lot in preseason to get match to get ready to get fit. So I'm just saying that probably it's just fatigue from these players because the United States is very, very, very huge. And for them to be traveling from one coast to the next coast is not easy, and plus putting training session and stuff like that. So it's definitely something that can wear you down, wear you out, because as I said, that is so huge. Imagine from where I'm at to California, if I'm flying, it's like probably 5 hour flight. That's what I'm saying. So it's huge, but there's still a lot of fighting spirit. I could have seen more in this game. Players could have tried at least some passes I saw where they could have at least put a little more effort in to try to block. Because practice become perfect. And as Enzo Maresca said in his interview, that I was listening, that he was saying that some of these mistakes are coming from probably last season and the season before because it does not want these players to be pushing that high, at least 4 meter more back, but it's just a habit that they develop, from last season and probably the season before where they play the sideline. So it's still stuck inside of their head, to try to play this eye line. And this eye line against a team like Real Madrid, was very, very, very difficult because Real Madrid moved and there is a team that been together for a long time. They know how to run because Vinny and Rodrigo trying to overload Reece James, as I said earlier, is a good thing that Reece James is a very good one-on-one defender, or less, the score line would be very, very different. But my biggest take on this game, moving from the defense, for me, it's the defensive unit. If we can get the defense unit correctly, because I saw a few times that we cut through Real Madrid, and the way we cut through Real Madrid, we definitely have a style that the coach really wants to input. My biggest concern is definitely how we're gonna keep clean sheets. That's my biggest concern. But overall, Malo Gusto, what a player! He was one of the only player on the pitch was putting everything on the line. Out of two players, which I'm going to go to the next player now in a few, but out of all the players, Malo Gusto was one of the players with a never die spirit. He was putting in tackle here and there, like no one go past Malo. I think that's gonna be my new thought. No one go past Malo. Malo was there. Malo was everywhere. That inverted role, Malo, I can say he got that lock. He got that lock. Malo know when to go in. He know when to stay out, and doesn't matter how much Real Madrid tried to overload that. No one passed Malo. Malo is quicker and a good one-on-one defender that a lot of us give him credit for. We have to check out Malo Gusto properly. He's a very, very, very good one-on-one defender. And he's a very intelligent player. That's the only thing I can say about Malo Gusto. He's a very, very, very important player for this Chelsea team. Reece James gonna be a essential defender because Malo Gusto, if he continue down this path, I don't see where you're gonna take him out of this team. Mark Cucurella got a big thing coming too because trust me, Malo Gusto both right and left foot is decent. I saw Malo Gusto using his left foot like he's using his right, and he's very, very, very intelligent player. Very, very good 1v1 defender. Very, very good reader of the game. And he's a very, very determined football player. He put everything on the line. That's what I love with Malo Gusto. He put everything on the line. Everything. He leave everything out there. He don't afraid to get dirty. He's not afraid to get dirty. He's not afraid to tackle. He's not afraid to do anything at all. And that's what I take from this game with Malo Gusto. He is, for me, a superstar in the making. Malo Gusto is a superstar in the making. Is a fantastic signing. See him up live, I saw him and I know that he's a very good player. But to see what he do on the pitch live, I wasn't that far away from the pitch. As I told you, I was like 5 or 6 row away from the bench, or probably 4 row. I was right there on the front. I was right there where I can see everything clearly. I can hear everything on the bench. And Malo is one of the players that they give less instruction to on the pitch because he was playing that role like he was the one that made it, to be quite honest. Romeo Lavia. I think this player gonna make a big difference for Chelsea this season. With Lavia, he is a player that sit in front of the defensive line, good energy, good ball, good press resistant, good ball control, good dictator. He can pass the ball left and right, dictate the play. I'm not gonna be one that sit here and tell you guys a lie. Like he definitely put in a good performance. Honestly, all preseason games that I watch, You can see that Lavia is one of the main guy that the coach, turned to. He get most minutes than everyone else, I think, in this preseason, and I see why. He definitely push himself around the pitch. He tried to keep the midfield together. He tried everything. He's a wonderful, wonderful young man. Like, watch him play, man. He definitely put in the works. He definitely try, to do what he can do, and that's all you can ask for from players. I just hope that they do the best that they can, and that's what Lavia does on the pitch. He put in the work. He tries best to put himself around. He tries best to go here and there, and I like what I see from him. Hopefully stay injury free this season. And once he stay injury free, I know for a fact that he definitely, can make a big difference. In this Chelsea team with Lavia. When Cole Palmer and all of these players come back, I know that Chelsea will have a wonderful season. So that's the main aim right now is to watch, and see what's really gonna happen. I hope these young players, can adapt to what the coach is looking for. And Lavia is one that I really really can wait for the season to start to see what he can do or what he can bring. Enzo was just Enzo. Still no speed, but passing range is good. Try his best to get around the pitch. Enzo was just Enzo. Nothing magnificent than the cross that he put from Nadi Madueke was a well cross, taken cross. Like, was a very good deliver, on top of his head in the back of the net, make it 2-1. Love what I see. With that cross, as I said, it's a very very decent cross. That's Enzo. Passing range is Enzo thing. So it was a good passing range for him. Magnificent. As I said, magnificent cross, well taken header. But that's it. You can see that most of these players are playing to understand the formation or understand what the coach is trying to do. My next player, Raheem Sterling. It's funny because when we're doing the warm up, and they were warming up exactly right where I was, closer to where I was. And while they were warming up, they started to do some shooting drills. And there was a ball that come across to Raheem Sterling, in the 6-yard line, and the header was so simple, and he had it over the bar, and the whole entire fan right there was saying, Raheem haven't changed. This is what he's been doing all season long. And he's continually put it over the bar or put it sideways, wasn't going in the back of the net. And I was there and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. This is what he's gonna do in the game. And so said, so done. The first chance of the game, Raheem Sterling, clear header. Courtois was out there, was suffering, saying, I'm just gonna pick this ball back out of the net. And Raheem just put it over the bar, the same way that he did it when they were warming up. And everyone was looking at me. I was looking at them because I was talking about it before the game even start. When we're having this conversation, I was like, no, I can't believe this. And he did exactly the same thing. Another chance come, clear through, and Kuku go around about two players, slotted through for Raheem Sterling. He got it at his mercy. I don't know what he done, but he's trying to give it to Christopher Nkunku, or he's trying to shoot it, but he got Thibaut Courtois already down, coming to himself, All Ryan got to do is just either chip it or just make a better pass, for Christopher and Nkunku to put it in the back of the net. But still late, Raheem Sterling couldn't have done it either. The simple one or the hard one, he still didn't do any at all. So some of these little things that concerning, is the wingers. Go back to the wingers. These wingers are not goal scoring wingers, in my point of view, for Chelsea. Chelsea need players, wingers that can put the ball in the back of the net, players that are gonna take the chances. Because this season, if these wingers don't chip in with goals and help the likes of Cole Palmer and Christopher Nkunku, we're gonna have a long season. It's gonna be a long, long season, because definitely the way out I saw we're trying to play, these wingers gonna have to start to chip in with goals. They're gonna have to find a way out to put the ball in the back of the net. Christopher Nkunku, magnificent player. He's good on the ball. Very good with his running, very good with his movements, very intelligent player. A lot of times he make move the team and Nutty Madueke just do everything not to find him, but running off the back of players, dropping deep, picking up the ball, driving up player. One time he drive at Rudiger. I was praying to God that Rudiger missed, because the way Rudiger was trying to stop to stop Christopher Nkunku. If he did catch him, trust me, that would be Christopher Nkunku out. Honestly. But so far, so good what Christopher Nkunku do to slip past Rudiger, leave Rudiger on the floor to die, leave him there to dead. Like, where you going? Come back again next time. It was a good skip around him, skip that challenge. He did it very neatly, very confident. You know, he was a very, very good movements for him. He definitely, skip around him very neatly. I love what he done, but I'm telling you, if this guy can stay fit, it's going to be one to watch out for this season in the Premier League, especially if they put him in the right places. And when Cole Palmer and Nico Jackson get back, in this team, it's going to be something different. It was a wonderful, 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 display from him. Whenever he dropped deep, he tend to not lose the ball, either drive at his man or he'd look for a quick pass. Wish Nani Madueke can do the same. He's slick. He's very slick on the pitch. I love what I see. From him, to be quite honest. I'm not gonna sit here and say that he's gonna be the outstanding player, but I can tell you guys, that he's a very, very good player, and if he stay injury free, we're gonna have a excellent season with Christopher Nkunku. Mark Giu, if I pronounce his name properly, what a young man, very hardworking. He didn't get much chance, but if you see the work that he done as a striker, the runs that he made, both on and off the ball, the way how he trying to recover the ball when he lose it, the way how he pressed Real Madrid from striving, he never stopped run. He always try. And that's the only thing you can ask for young players and players that even in the squad or just come into the squad, is to put the performance in. And that's what I was talking earlier about Nani Madueke. If Nani Madueke was losing the ball and try, to press or try to do some of what I see Mark Giu was doing, or Giu, however you pronounce it. I'm sorry if I messed his name up. He was one of the players was pushing, was fighting. He give everything, he leave everything on the pitch. Either if you guys gonna say he didn't have much touch on the ball, but if you look on his work rate, The way how he was pressing the defenders, the way how he was pressing when Real Madrid have the ball, the way how he was pressing for them to make mistakes so the midfield can recover. He leave everything on the pitch. Everything on the pitch. That to show you that's a young player that know that he's not a superstar and he have to work hard, for his spot or hard to make the team or to stay in the team. And that's all I can take from him. He definitely put the work in, and I really really happy for him because he put the performance in. He didn't lay back, just lay back and roll over, or complain. He just tries best, to do what he can do on the pitch, and I love that. I love it, to be quite honest. I enjoyed it. I really do enjoy his commitment. Mialo Modric. What can I say about Modric now, without don't sound harsh or someone think that I'm trying to don't talk the player. Let me take a sip. Where can I start? Where should I start? Modric. He's a he's a very talented player. You can see that he got potential. You can see he got a lot of tricks in his game. You can see that he's very raw. You can see that he's really lost. You can see that when he have the ball or before he got the ball, he don't think 2 or 3 steps ahead. So he know exactly what he's gonna do. You can see that he try to make it up when he's on the ball. You know, unfortunate. You know, seems like he's just a regular kid. Just trying to play some ball for enjoyment. He don't know how to make the run, when to make the run. He um he I'm lost for words. I'm lost for words, to be quite honest. As I said, guys, watching on TV and being in the stadium, is totally different because you see more off the ball when the camera is not on them. When the camera is not on the player, it's something. It's different. It seems like he's a shadow of himself. Honestly, that's the best way that I can put it. He look lost. He looked like he's in a different world, waiting for someone to find him. He looked like he's in jail. Like the world boss, Free Vibes Cartel. You know, um, welcome home, Adi DJ the Palmer. Adi Palmer, welcome home. But all the Jamaicans would understand. Yesterday was Jamaica Independence. Happy Independence to all the Jamaicans across the world. The Independent Day was a very important day for me too. But unfortunate I have to choose between it and Chelsea, and I choose Chelsea to go watch Chelsea. So that's why today I wear the green. The green represent Jamaica. So I'm trying to make it back up. Welcome, Jersey. Blue board analyst is in the building, guys.
Hello, Garvin. Hello, everyone. Meyer, everyone in the chat. Thank you for having me. Garvin, I apologize. I thought the yesterday when I checked or in the morning it was advertised for midnight UK time. So I didn't know that you're back early. So that's great. That's great. I just saw I was on another platform as I told you. So I just got done and I check your message. So you came back early today.
Yeah, I came back because Mrs. called me and told me I got an interview to someone to do something on the house at 5 o'clock. So I was like, I have to do the stream right now because I got so much on my mind that I really want to get off, and the time was limited, it wasn't much long time. So I was like, I try to do my best to get it out of the way before then, because they
Yeah, it's
come
all
and
good.
listen
It's
and
great.
shut it down.
It's even a better time because it's already 9:15 here. So it's a time where I'm more fresh. So I'm sure that I'll of course after this stream will go back and listen to everything you said. So I'm sure you talked a lot on the game. So just to be precise for me and whoever just tune in, what's your take, strength and weaknesses, and because you were there at the game, right? You were there, you watched it firsthand. So I know you shared a lot from the game, the pictures, the emotions. So very precisely, if you can summarize for me, for the audience who just tune in, because we have to know from the man who attended the game.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, I saw a lot of improvement, the way we're trying to move the ball, even though we're making some mistakes. But soon as the player understand the right passes to make, because the coach still have to be directing some players, where exactly, the next pass that they should make, once they get it, I know for a fact that the some of the teams, we're gonna be passing through them. Not saying that it's gonna be perfect. We're gonna have moments where you're gonna see some brilliant stuff. The manager on the sideline, he was barking instruction, he was pointing, he was showing them, runs to make. Against Real Madrid, we opening up them a lot, with some of the quick sliding moves that the manager, the coach want. Getting behind Real Madrid wasn't a big problem for us until the ball go to like Noni Madueke. He don't know when to dribble. He don't know when to pass. He don't know when to shoot. He's always just trying to use his left, and that's not good because players gonna always, study you. You have to switch it up a little bit. Even if you're not a right footer, but sometimes when the ball already in motion, for me as a player, you just have to put your foot through the ball. It can go anywhere, especially when you reach so close to the 6 yard line. You have to at least put your foot behind the ball. It doesn't matter if he's a weaker foot or your stronger foot. It can take a deflection. It can trigger to one of your teammates, but he tend to always trying to cut back the ball on his left. And that's very very predictable. And that's one of the biggest take I take from it. So I think that Chelsea definitely need another winger. Someone that definitely is a goal scoring winger, someone that's not afraid to make the run, make the passes. Not the way can understand that, he's staying wide, but when he get the ball, always tend to either try to take the man on, or cut it back. Then he delay with the pass a little bit, So sometimes when he delay, he let the team come back in shape. So those are some aspects that I take away from the game, and his attitude on the pitch. Honestly, I don't really like it. It's just it stink, and that's just my truth. You know me. I'm a person that don't criticize. And I'm not criticizing the man. I'm just talking exactly what I see. His attitude is fanning his hand. On amongst his teammate when the pass don't go to him or when he didn't get it. He spent too much time. When he lose the ball, instead of run back trying to fix his shorts up to look neat or to look cute. That don't play in the football game. That don't play on the pitch. That for me, I'm going harsh, but I'm sorry. That's for me is when you're out there trying to be sweet, a sweet boy, to try to attract some girls or to get some. But for a player of his stature, shouldn't even thinking about those because the girls should be trying to attract to him. You know, um, those are some of the takes that I take from the game. A lot of big outlets. I was listening on my way back was saying that Reece James had a bad game. Reece James was struggling. That's a totally lie. That's totally not exactly how it is. Reece James have an excellent game without any help at all. Imagine you got two of the best winger in the world up against you, and each time they come up against him, he finds some way to nick the ball or to disrupt their movements. Imagine you got Rodri and you got Vinicius Jr. stuck in on Reece James all the time, 2-on-1. When he stood up without any help. Because as I said, Noni Madueke is down there fixing himself up on his banner on his head and his shorts, trying to fix it up, trying to look cute. Instead of being checking back to help out Reece James after he lose the ball. So those are some of the takes that I really take from the game. Mark Guillory, the work ethic that he got. If none got half of that work ethic, he will be an excellent player this season. We'll score a lot of goals. But as I'm saying, his work ethic after losing the ball, that's one of my biggest concern is when the player lose the ball, the effort that they're going to put in to win back the ball. I don't think our midfield is a problem, as a lot of people have been saying. I think it's the attackers, the ethic, the work ethic that they put in. Christopher Nkunku, good work ethic. Put himself about the pitch here and there. Same thing with Mark Guillory. He did the same thing. Always put in the work back and forth. Sterling did it, once in a blue moon. He did a lot. But Raheem Sterling's biggest problem is when he have the ball down the line. The same thing as Noni Madueke. Always run into one of the Real Madrid players. Take too long to make the passes. They don't for the style that the coach want to play. You have to move the ball quick and slide. And I think that's one of my biggest concern, that the wingers does not do stuff like that. They tend to fall back, on with the ball. When they're supposed to speed it up, they slow it down. When they're supposed to slow it down, they speed it up. So those are some little aspects I take from the game. But we do create a lot of chances. As I said earlier, their first goal was clear offside. The second goal, again, Balashili, on TV, it seems like it probably seems to you guys that it was something that couldn't stop. But even my grandmother, that's all would be 100 years old right now, could have really walked and stopped that ball. So those are my great takes on the game, so far for those players. And Modric, as I said, he's lost. He's a man that's out there in the wilderness, doesn't know where to turn, doesn't know what to do, don't got a GPS, don't know if he turned right or left, or if he stand, what's going to happen or where it's going to go. He's lost. He's a man that looked lost, like he's on a different planet. Like, this is not me. I'm not made for this. So those are some big aspect, man, and some big take, on who know me. Jerry, you know me more than probably anyone else on YouTube, because we talk behind the scene. And that definitely I'm always a positive person, but honestly, I only can speak the truth and nothing but the truth, and my take on it, some of these players seems like they're not ready for Chelsea.
Yes, absolutely. Love the way you analyze. You covered the game, and it's a great. It really seemed. I mean, it shows. Of course, you were at the game, so you. I mean, what difference it makes when you watch it on television and when you attended the game, see it, with a hawk eyes vision. And I think you were sitting at a very. Can you tell me where you were sitting? Because the photos you shared, it seems that you were in the perfect place. That you had a great sight. So where were you exactly sitting?
Where I was sitting, that's where Chelsea dressing room was, was below. So where I was sitting, I was close to the Chelsea bench, than the Real Madrid bench. So I was close to where the Chelsea player were. I could where they were warming up, they can hear my voice, because when I call, especially some of their names, they turn around and wave.
Wow, that would have been great, right?
Yes, that to show you how close I was. I was right there, about 5 row up. About 5 to 6 row up from the field. So I was really right there at the front. So I could even hear the instruction that the manager was putting out. Even before the game, I saw, one of the owner. I can't even call his name right now because
Iqbali.
Bali. Yeah, he was right there. I tried to take a sneak picture of him, but unfortunate, guys, that I know I said I got some pictures, but they're not that clear, and I got some videos, because what they said that I couldn't use my little camera that I use, but they said I must use my phone, and honestly, it was just throw me off. I was like, okay, let me just enjoy the game instead of, I did my best what I can for the WhatsApp group, and I did all what I can for the group, but it was just that stadium where they didn't want us to use the camera or nothing inside of the stadium, even if you're not doing it to go live or nothing, they just didn't want you to use it. So I try my best, we're gonna
No,
see
you
about
did. You did a great job. You shared the videos, pictures, and it's so nice of you. We got the opportunity to feel the environment, the occasion. So thank you so much for that. And as you were analyzing the game, yeah, with Reece James, if I see the analyst or the some of the pundits or the newspaper, they have given him 4 or 5 out of 10 rating. But as you have defined, that he, according to you, and because you were there, that he played very well, right? Of course there were instances this preseason, he's coming back from the injury, so we should take that into consideration. He won't be like the best Reece James, but I think with what I understand, that you think he really took some steps, in his progress, the way he played. So that's nice, of course. With Noni Midweke, if you see, like, he has been involved with the goals and assists, but I can see where your concern is towards his whole, or all you can say, application, temperament, and his decision making. So although he did contribute, but there are still question marks, right? Sterling, as you said, I mean, Sterling is the same, right? From his first day up until now, nothing more that I would like to add to that. And I think he had two, at least two brilliant opportunities to score, right? Can you reflect a bit on that in the second half?
on Sterling.
Yes, Sterling.
My take on Sterling, in the warm up, he was missing the same chances that he get in the game. All of those he was putting over the bar or the side way to goal. None of the takes that he get in the warm up, he was putting them away when with the shooting drill. So I was talking to a lot of fans that was around me because they were like, "You seems like you know a lot about the game." So they were trying to get a lot of input, and it wasn't good. Sterling, as I said, like we need some wingers, some better wingers that know how to take on player one to one. I know a lot of time we said a lot of players are one to one demon, or a player that's not anybody Wake or Sterling, but Sterling looked like a player that already do all of his mileage. It's like an engine where the mileage is already there and done. Every time you're trying to take a player on, you get too close to the player. So the player always block him or he running to the players. Little stuff like those, little dribbling that he's supposed to make where he should either fake the player and then come back inside. He continued to go down the line. The player, his body is bigger than him. The player block him or man him off the ball or something, little stuff like those. Decision wise, they're not fluid. They're probably too much in their head, from previous season. So they still come back with the same old, as what the coach said about the defense line that he does not want them to play that high. You want them to drop back at least 4 meters, but because of the old habit that they got, they still trying to play that eye line that they played last season, and that's what Real Madrid saw, and that's why a lot of people probably say Reece James didn't have a good game, but Reece James have to be pushing high to keep everybody offside, with the rest of the defense line. So it wasn't a say that Reece James going 50-50 with a Vinicius Jr. and Rugby right on him. Both player is on him at all times, and he still come up and get a touch off it or something. Probably not a perfect touch where, you're going to see Reece James walk away with the ball at all times, but imagine you got two players, two speedy player right there on your heel at all times. What can else you asking for? That's two of the best winger in the world. One that probably going to be nominated for the Ballon d'Or. The next one probably be in the World 11. So imagine you got two of those players on your heel at all times. What more can you ask from him? He did what he can. He does his best. Even Malo Gusto and Lavia was my favorite player in that game because Gusto was a player with never die attitude. I think some of these Chelsea players they're worrying too much to be this Mr. Cute guy. Instead of trying to be Mr. Working guy. Try to get dirty. They always to me, trying to be too cute. Football is a game, or soccer, for my unit, it's a game that you have to get dirty. And I think these players need to learn how to get dirty. I saw we make a true pass, Christopher Nkuku to Nandimani Waking. Rudiger got no chance to catch that ball. No chance at all. Rudiger should have to catch that ball. And what Rudiger did, he fling himself across in the air like a flying, like when you're watching those kung fu movie back in the days. That's all Rudiger do to stop that ball. He put everything, every stretch, every muscle that he can take to stretch himself off the ground in the air to stop that ball for Nani Madueke to go one-on-one with Thibaut Courtois. And those are some of the commitment I'm talking about that I need to see from these Chelsea players. And this is some of the commitment that I'm not seeing. Like the second goal, when Balashili watched the ball walk into the back of the net because he thought, I think in his mind, he think that the goalkeeper got it. So he slowed down. All he got to do is make one more footstep. And he would have been there covering the near post where he could have just simply stopped the ball and walk away with it. The player have no right to score that goal. But the commitment, the desire, the passion wasn't there. As I see a lot of people put on the social media that old Thiago Silva, 100-year-old Thiago Silva would have, stop it. And rightfully he would have. So this is a lot of things that we have to take into consideration. These players, the commitment these players, our defenders need to make. Disasi was a player that I always said that I'm not comfortable with Disasi, especially going out wide. But Disasi is a defender. If it was Disasi, he would have slide and try to do everything to stop that ball. That's the difference. Disasi is a very, very much player that always trying to build the crowd up, trying to lift the crowd. He will do everything to stop a ball, to block a ball, to block a shot. And that's what I'm not getting from Levi Cole or Balashili. Honestly, I'm not getting that from none of those two. That's my biggest concern with the defensive line. Going forward, as I said earlier, I like what I see because we got pattern of play. We can break any defensive line, but to put the ball in the back of the net and our defenders to make more commitment, that's my biggest concern right now going into the season. But overall, ball movements, you can see it's coming. The way Enzo wants us to play, we're playing it. Not to the fullest, but you can see little patches here and there. And once we get that lock, Chelsea gonna be very dangerous. But I'm still concerned about the defense.
Yeah, very well said. The defense is a huge problem and it needs to be sorted. And the sooner it can be sorted, it will be better for us, especially for our pursuit to finish in the Champions League spot. Yeah, I mean, it's a concern. It's a concern among the fan base, and rightly so. We have to see how we can improve on that. And with the ball, I think we are doing well. Without the ball is the issue, and that was the issue also last season and the season before. Um, as far as positional aspect goes, I think they are professional enough. The players, I think they should apply the new methodology quickly. If you are playing at a professional level, Garvin, you have played. It's not difficult to go from one system to another. Yes, a certain players can have it, but at least they working on the position, either it's a high line or being at a certain distance. I think that could be done in a matter of, I won't say days, but let's say within a month that can be sorted out. In my opinion, we have seen under not just in Chelsea in professional football, we have seen different coaches come in and the players completely change their style. I don't see that they take ages to adapt. So that is where I think you have concerns about the players' professionalism and maybe how good they are. So you mentioned Modric, and we know the problem that Sterling has in terms of not being consistent. But let's say if you don't go for another, I mean, we don't sign a left winger, and we have to, I mean, we have to play either Modric or Sterling. So which one you'll choose in that situation?
Yeah, with Modric, to be honest, big up Supreme. For me, I definitely want to see, he come to light, but I don't. The way how he look out there on that pitch, I don't think he got a clue, what he want to do on the pitch. I think that he needs to go to like probably a lower team loan in the Premier League where he can allow to make mistakes, to build some confidence, to come away from that desert, that he's in. He needs something to come away from that desert, that mindset. He need a loan, even a championship loan. I'm sorry, I know it's a lot of money, but sometimes you have to forget about the money and forget about pride, and forget about what people are gonna say, and just do what's best for you. In life, sometimes you have to be a man and man up and know that okay, I'm off. I need a rebounds. I need to go somewhere where I can bounce back and be the best of myself. We all got these moments in life that you have to take step back from something that you love to push forward. And that's what I think Modric needs. He needs something. I don't think that he's going to get the chance in Chelsea to continue making these mistakes week in, week out. Give him a Premier League loan, even one of these teams that just get promoted. He needs something. He needs something. Big up Rich Money Maker. Thank you, bro, for tuning in. Thank you, Supreme, for tuning in. Myron, as always, who else was there? Miss Molina, thank you for tuning in. Yeah, so I'm sorry, Jersey. Yeah, but it's definitely mind concerning, to for me, he's still on a long contract. We still need to go get somewhere where we're gonna get a full season, in. I think that even Strasbourg, send him out there on loan or a Premier League loan. Like they definitely have to do something to help this young man because he do got the talent, he do got the potential, but it's definitely just like is honestly, I know Arsenal fans, probably gonna say that, because if he did went to Arsenal, it probably would be the same thing for me. This young man, it just seems like he's just a shadow of himself. It seems like he's not comfortable out of his comfort zone, and that's just Ukraine. That's where he was comfort. His comfort was. It seems like he would have struggled anywhere he go. He's just in a different world. He just need to go somewhere where he's just gonna play game in, game out. Someone who's gonna believe in him, take the chance with him, and just give him the game in, game out. Because even if he did went to Arsenal, he wouldn't get this game time, that we all, expect. He's gonna get because he's gonna have the likes of Martinelli in front of him, Saka in front of him. So he would have been like a part-time player too. He wouldn't be this out and out starter. So this player just need a good run in a team. And I'm sorry, the big teams in England, Arsenal, your Man City, your Tottenham, your Manchester United, your Liverpool, they don't got time for babysitting because the Premier League is there to be won. The Premier League is there to be challenged for. The Champions League is there to go competing. The FA Cup, the League Cup. So the Premier League is a different kettle of different kettle, man. The Premier League is just a different beast. Different. The Premier League big teams don't got time to gel player in. And that's what Modric need. He need a team where he can gel, where he can grow, where he can get form again, where he can, where someone that's that's definitely gonna just believe in him. Doesn't matter, just give him the game time, the game run, game week in, week out. And I'm fortunate, a lot of us that sit here and say he's gonna come good. I'm sorry. I'm always the positive one. But I don't see, unless there's a miracle, like he turn around and have a good season this season. Which I hold my hand up. That's something that I would love to see. I would love to see he got a wonderful season. I would love to see that I'm proven wrong. I would love to sit here and on a stream and say that, he surprised me. He proved me wrong. But right now, through how I see it, man, this kid is a kid that's out there in the water, man, looking for someone to rescue him. He's out there, and it's sad, and it's really sad. But he's out there looking for someone to rescue him.
Yeah, very well said. It's a concern. Of course, we can see the pattern. And hello to Miss Melina. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. Uh, yes, it's not just a week or two, a month or two. It's more than what, 1.5 seasons. So it's a long, long time. And given this much time, you usually see improvement, at least to a certain degree. But we have not seen any improvement uh, in Modric, his decision making, either uh, expanding on his runs and hitting the block, or his shooting is there's a lot to be desired. And yes, I'm concerned as well. I agree with you on that. And unfortunately, the other option is Raheem Sterling, who, as you said, plays one of the best games, but once in a blue moon, or once in every 5 games. That is, of course, the blue moon at the highest level. So, what about Nico Jackson? Nico
Um,
Jackson on the left wing.
that's that's my Chelsea signed this kid just now, Fabrizio, about 50 minutes ago. Give the year we go, you know, um, for this young striker, that powerful striker, similar to
Yeah,
us.
from Atletico Madrid, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a 7-year deal plus one. So he's gonna be here for 8 years. Very physical, very powerful, something that you need in the Premier League. We don't know much about him, but I think that we still need to go for Victor Osimhen. Play Nicholas Jackson out on the left. He's training. He was training and training. Seems like he's training very well. He didn't come out. He didn't come out on the pitch. Because as the coach said after the game, because I asked a few questions, he said he's ready. So he probably be in the squad for Saturday against Inter Milan. So he's getting up to speed. They didn't want to rush him back. The injuries already left. They're just getting him up to speed. But my biggest player on that pitch was Gusto, to be honest, because I know you're gonna ask that next. So let me just kill it right here. It was Gusto and Lavia. Lavia surprised me. He never stopped run. He always cannon. He's just being the midfielder that we're looking for. Marlo Gusto, as I said, man, very, very intelligent player, very, very good one-on-one defender. Name it. This kid got it. The fighting spirit. He got it all. He proved it all. He showed it all on the pitch. It doesn't seem like he's a friendly to him. He was putting everything out there. I love what I see from him.
Yes, Lavia has been a standout player, and especially when he tackles, and his sight, of to pass. Not only he picks the right passes and the precision, the way he, especially the long passes, has been subliminal. So we have Magui, and we signed this another striker from Atletico Madrid who was on loan for the club Alaves, right? Alaves in Spain. He played 35 games, scored 8 goals. You said very physical, tall, of course, but most of the fan base don't know much about him because, of course, 20-year-old only played one season at loan, and before that, I believe he played in the second division in Spain. That's all good, right? But we need something for now, like a Victor Osimhen, as you said, right? If we have to push for the top four this season and eventually for the league in the next 2 3 seasons, we really need to get something. Not, I'm not saying we need a lot of players, but one or two signings, key signings, would be very important. As you said, Garvin, there are some players, not many, but there are some players, as you said, who does not belong at the highest level. After given a lot of opportunities, we can see their limitation. Perhaps they were signed at a such a higher transfer fee that maybe our expectations were not, in tune with that. But still, once you spend a year or two, it's normal to expect the players after all this training to adapt, to deliver. And if they don't, then questions are asked. So Galman, in short, or to summarize the preseason, these issues, yes, the playing style is different, the patterns are good, and we created more chances. Even though we won one, drew one, lost 3 games, under Pochettino, we were invincible in the preseason, but we created more chances than Pochettino. I was looking at the stats in preseason. Under Maresca, we are creating more. That's a good sign. We have more patterns of play. That's a great sign. But if we have to talk in terms of the exact, I mean, to the point on the issue that we face without going into technicalities, it's the same so far that we had under Pochettino. The defense being too vulnerable, exposed, out of position, leaking goals. And although we are creating chances, we are not scoring. So the problem remains. I know it's only preseason. I know he's here for 5 weeks, but we need to answer that. I don't believe that we'll say, okay, it's still early days. You know how grueling, how tough Premier League is. If I'm just saying, of course, there are positives, but as we always try to speak the truth, be objective. But for some reason, if this is not sorted, and the longer it prevails, Carvin, Premier League is so tough that you hit a point of no return if you are already lagging after 7 to 10 games. If you see the point,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
much as we can say that okay, we it's a new system, but we need to. We don't want a position that we have to catch up. If that's where we go, it will be very difficult.
that's my biggest concern because Mr. Supreme, Supreme, I understand what you're saying. Being dangerous. I know you said Sterling and Nunny is our most dangerous player. Being dangerous is one. But being dangerous in a football game or a soccer game, I don't know where you how you call it. Don't count in the sport. Being dangerous is one, but being clinical is something different. We cannot mix both together. We don't need players to be dangerous. We need players to be clinical. We need players to be surprised. And right now, that's we're not getting none of those at all from both. Clinical is something key to a championship. When a player can be clinical, that's what we need. Erling Allen, clinical. Is Erling Allen is a better overall footballer than a Nicholas Jackson? I don't think so. But is Erling Allen is a world global superstar? Yes. The reason why Erling Allen is a world global superstar because he's a machine. He's a goal scoring machine. He's a beast when it comes on to finishing. Can Erling Allen take on one or two or three players? No, I don't think so. That's not his style. Can Erling Allen pick the ball up like Nicholas Jackson and drive on defenders? No. Erling Allen is be patient, wait, move. When to sprint. He know when the time and how the time to get into the box. To put the ball in the back of the net. That's what makes Erling Allen stand out over the rest because of his clinical finishing. Is Cole Palmer is more skillful than Noni Madueke? I don't think so. I think both of them skill-wise will be the same, in my point of view. But the intelligence of Cole Palmer make him stand out over Noni Madueke. Cole Palmer don't try to prove. Cole Palmer try to perform. So there's a big boundary and a big difference. You have to know when to pass, when to dribble. And that's what Cole Palmer used to conquer Noni Madueke. They're both coming from the same school, the under 20 English team. But Cole Palmer stepped above him because Cole Palmer is more clinical with his brain. Football play with your brain. 90% of the game is with your brain, not with the ball. Noni Madueke try to play with the ball. And that's where his biggest problem is. Cole Palmer play with his brain. So there's a big difference in football, and both don't match. Your brain, you're supposed to use your brain quicker than how you try to use the ball. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not coming at you, but I'm just saying that Cole Palmer and Noni Madueke, if you put both of them together, you get something different. The same thing go with Raheem Sterling. Being dangerous without being clinical is totally different. I love Erling Allen. I love Nicholas Jackson. Nicholas Jackson is a player that we will sit and watch and enjoy. Erling Allen, not so much, because he don't do nothing on the pitch than to put the ball in the back of the net. But his name is up there among some of the greatest, because what he done is the hardest thing in football, is to find the back of the net. Trust me, when you're in front of that goal, doesn't matter how big the goal look on the television. When you're playing on the pitch and you're running, the goal is so small. It seems like it's just a little beanie six-a-side goal. But when you're watching on the TV and he's so huge, it's a big difference. So the thing is, goal scoring is one of the hardest thing to do on a football pitch. So being dangerous don't count in my book. The only thing count in my book is to be clinical. And that's what Chelsea need to go back to the top, is player to be clinical, player to find the back of the net. And that's where my biggest concern is. Jersey, can you send the link to Sir Bobby for me, please?
All right, just give me a minute.
And when the guy come, I'm gonna jump off and you take over the show for me, if you don't mind.
All right, sure, no worries. Just give me a minute. I'm sending him the link.
Okay. Let's be honest. I understand that we don't got enough clinical attackers, and that's one of the biggest downfall for Chelsea, is to find a way to find clinical finishers. Like, that's the biggest problem we got, is the clinical finishing. I do understand, but for me, danger don't really count, because you see the danger, and danger is something that you can always avoid, But when the team have to pick the ball out of the back of the net, they're gonna have to open up, because they're gonna have to start a push, and when they start a push, then you can go and look for at least score 2 or 3 or 4 more goals. That's one of the biggest key of this game, is to be very clinical. I understand. I get your point. I do, and I do understand. I just need Chelsea to start a win again. And what I see on the pitch, yesterday, for me, it's a lot of things I take away from the game. Especially with Noni, he spent too much time, trying to fix himself, trying to be Mr. Cute guy, and that's some of the biggest concern, because when the camera move away from Noni Madueke and start to follow the ball, you don't really see those stuff on the TV, when we're watching the game, but it's a big difference, to see what he's been doing, flashing his hand. When the play don't go his way, he flash his hand towards his player. One of the time, Christopher Nkunku was so frustrated that he started like he wanted ready to flash back his hand on Noni Madueke, because Noni Madueke was complaining about every little details, like every little bits of pieces, like even the fans in the stadium. To show you, when the fans in the stadium start to boo a player, you must know it's not only just the Chelsea players was supporter was booing Noni Madueke. The Real Madrid player was booing Noni Madueke also. You know, the Real Madrid supporters, even the last free kick that he take, you know, the Real Madrid supporters especially was just booing him because his decision making was really really poor. You know, he it was really poor, and that's the truth. Not taking anything away from him, but his decision making was really poor. Good evening, Sir Bobby, or good night. You know, because I forgot the time zone is different. Welcome to the show, Sir Bobby.
Hey, big up, guys. I just saw you streaming. I thought I'll quickly join. And so much is going down at the moment. It's hard to keep up. It really is.
Hello, Bobby. Welcome to the show. Thank you
Hey,
for taking the
Jersey.
time out.
Jersey, always my pleasure, guys. Always my pleasure. I don't know what we're talking about or where we start, but is
I
it
was
uh,
sorry. Go ahead.
is it Samu or
No, I was giving
Gallagher?
my take on the game because I went to the game yesterday, you know, and I didn't like a lot of things. Cause you know I'm a positive person, but to
Yeah.
sit there and see a lot of stuff, you know, especially from Nodi Madueke, you know, his attitude is something that I don't like. You know, I saw him the last game where he's trying to fight Nkuku for the penalty, you know, and in this game, you know, he's flashing his hand at all times towards his teammates when things don't go his way, you know, and the way how you know he let a lot of these big YouTubers was talking about Reece James didn't have a wonderful game, you know, and that was a lie, you know, because Reece James was one of the best players on the pitch with Malo Gusto and Lavia. You know, it's just imagine you got two players, two of the best players in the world on Reece James, 2-on-1 at all times, and Reece James still keeping up with those two players. You know, when Nani Madueke is sitting on the floor flashing his hand, complaining to Guiri because he expect to get a better pass or to get a pass in a different way, and it didn't come to him. You know, and getting up instead of trying to get up and try to sprint to try to help Reece James or to cover. You know, he was there fixing his shorts. You know, fixing the bound on his head. You know, those are the attitude. You know, I'll look at Nani Madueke
Who's
and say he's
this?
not fit for Chelsea.
Oh, Noni. Okay. Yeah. I have to say, I mean, last night I fell asleep, and I didn't wake up till the game had long finished, so I had to rely on highlights and then replays to catch up with what was going on. I thought the performance wasn't good at all. Um, I didn't expect it to be good because we have a team full of unfit players, players that don't know what the manager wants them to do. We still, as fans, don't really know what he's about. And yeah, everything you say is right. Um, I don't think we're ready for the season at all. I think we're very far from it. The defenders, for me, are a lot of concern. I mean, that first goal, Badiashile just walked the ball into the net. You know, he just followed it. Now, was he afraid to lunge because the pitch was too dry and he didn't want to get an injury? I don't know. A lot was wrong. You know, it was just a follow on from the Man City game.
Can I say something on that, Sir Bobby? I
Yeah,
was right there.
absolutely.
I was right there with both the magic goal. Right, he didn't have to
Okay.
lunge. He didn't have to do nothing at all. He was so close that is. I think he misread the ball because he probably think that the goalkeeper have the ball. If he make one step more, he could have simply stopped the ball, control it. Like it was so close to him. I don't know what he was doing at all. Like he's not ready for the game for the season.
If I would go as far as to say that most of them are not ready at all. They're not ready. They're lethargic. They're not fit. They're match rusty, and they don't understand the instructions of the coach. You know, it's all very well saying, "Oh, they don't know how to do the high press." and dropping back a few yards and that sort of thing. Well, that's what preseason and training is for. Now, I understand that going all the way to America, excuse me, going all the way to America for preseason and barely having intervals is a disruption. You know, all these things that big clubs do now by traveling to have their preseason just for commercial purposes. It's a necessary part of modern football, but it's not really a good opportunity for a team that has never been rehearsed before to exercise their players. You know, the team like Man City or Real Madrid, who have had the same coach for years, they're just going for fitness. They're not going to learn a system because they right through the team and the the academies, and they all know the system. But this Chelsea team, not only are they going for fitness and indeed recovery, because most of them didn't even play last season, they are also now having to start from square one, learning the new system of this manager. And I don't want to be too critical, but it seems he's rather complicated. He doesn't do simple things. You know, for all the criticism of Pochettino, by this time last year in pre-season, the team was far fitter, far more understanding of what he wanted of them, and the results showed. You know, they won the whatever trophy it was they were in pre-season. Now I know that's meaningless because immediately after that he lost the rest, most of them to injury again, and ended up with basically no one. But largely the team wasn't too confused about how he wanted to play. And to be fair, Thiago Silva at the back was very helpful to that because he was very commanding and he would be, pulling players around him. But the attack suffered then what it's suffering now, lack of finishing, not finishing. Sadly, people like Raheem Sterling, I don't see any improvement in that guy, and I've given up. I don't hope for any improvement. He's shown us who he is. He's not going to get any better, and we should try to drop him. Now, does it mean it's over for Chelsea? Of course not. It doesn't. But it just means that we have a lot of work to do. And even Maresca himself said, look, now we're back home at Cobham. It's train, train, train. There's the game over the weekend at Inter. Thankfully, it's a home game. That's an opportunity to exercise themselves again, to see what they've learned, if anything. And then they have a week to the start of the season. I don't think they'll be ready for that start. We just go in with a prayer and hope that we, manage to get lucky. But I don't see this team, even if everybody stays fit and is all singing, all dancing, I don't think see them really doing anything or in terms of understanding a proper system of play till November, December. And I just hope it's not too late by then and we don't suffer in other competitions, including the Conference League, because I'm quite concerned for that as well. No matter how bad or how weak a so-called team is, if you don't know what you're doing and you're not organized and coordinated, you could have the best players in the world and you will falter. So it is a worry at the moment. It really is. And just before I sort of drop, um, we oh gosh, I forgot what I was going to say now. My trend of thought has gone. Oh dear. Um, oh gosh, it was about the season. Oh dear, it's gone. My trend of thought has gone. I was about to raise a point about our readiness for the season, but I've forgotten it, which is really strange. It's not like me at
So
all.
Bobby, this question about the defense, right? I think we all agree that the defense is the biggest issue. Of course, not being
Yes.
clinical, but why? I mean, in your opinion, why do you think we are not considering Chalaba? And there are reports that we are talking with Palace. In my opinion, like he is one of
Thank
our
you.
better defenders. So especially when we are suffering, so what
Yeah.
do you think? Why Chelsea are not considering Chalaba?
Thank you. You've reminded me that was exactly where my point was going. Um, there are things happening now that I have to say. I defend the ownership and the sporting directors a lot. I err on the side of support before I go to criticism, because I don't think they need that. They have a very difficult task to rebuild Chelsea to greatness, and they're rightly sticking to the plan in hand. However, I don't understand the Gallagher situation, the Chalabar situation. Okay, they've sold Gallagher now, so they've got some pure profit. They had pure profit off Martin. They had pure profit off uh, uh, the kid that went to Newcastle. So there's been three academy guys going and bringing in pure profit finances into the accounts. Are we in problems with PSR? No, I think we're quite we're quite now in the black for this 3 year cycle. So what is the point in getting rid of Gallagher? He has 4 more years on his contract. I don't, and he is the best centre back. I don't see the sense in it. Gallagher would organise the defence better than anybody that we've got there at the moment. Wesley Fofana is unfit, still trying to get physical fitness, not to mention match fitness. There are huge question marks around Badia Shield. I don't know. He seems to have too many bozo moments for my liking. Desasi's injured, and I'm not really sure if he's the answer. And Levi Colwill, my goodness, he's looking for fitness as well, but he seems to just lack awareness as well, spatial awareness. He doesn't really seem to know how to conduct himself in the centre back, and a centre back position that they're both playing is a position where you need to be commanding. You need to, at least if you don't know the system, you still know how to defend. So I don't know. I'm confused. I don't understand the sale of Gallagher of Chalaba, and the problem now is if you go back to him, yeah, he'll come back and he'll play for Chelsea because he loves Chelsea, but he will always harbour that bitterness as to how he's been treated, just like Rudiger did. Rudiger came back, he loves Chelsea, and he would have stayed, yes, but when things really got a bit crazy, he didn't hesitate to leave because he still felt that hurt and that bitterness of when Lampard, put him out to dry and was even threatening to sell him, and also the way his contract was dealt with, the sort of lackluster way Marina Granovskaya dealt with him as well. So when he left, he left. I wouldn't blame Chalaba, if he stays, yes, but he's not going to be too happy with this ownership for how they are so keen and so willing to want to flog him. And if they suddenly turn to him because they need him, yeah, he's still under contract. He's obligated to stay, but it's not, it's not nice. It doesn't look good. They'll have to go some to persuade him or to apologize to him for how he's been treated. So I don't understand it. I will continue to have faith with the sporting directors and their plan, but the optics are not good. Chalaba is our best centre back since the departure of Thiago Silva, and he's not there, and it shows.
Can I
Simple
say
as that.
something on that Shalba? Then you can go Jersey. What if? It's just a what if though. So guys don't take this different. But what if Shalba is one that already proved to the manager? The manager already know that Shalba is gonna be in the squad. Why he leave him? What the reason why he leave him back? Because if you notice in preseason, is the players that most likely never played last season are the players are getting all the match game, the players that's coming back from injury. If you notice in this preseason, none of the players that really play in last season, majority of last season is playing right now. Is majority of the players that's coming back from injury. That mostly of them are the one that come on the trip. So we have to wait until the team come back. I think they already landed, or they're probably about to land, in the UK, to start training back at Cobbin. But while I see it, is majority of the players, it seems like he's trying to get match fitness.
Honestly, Govern, I hope you're right. I really, really hope you're right. It's logical what you're saying because a lot of the players playing now certainly barely played last season. That includes Nkunku, Lavia. They all need Colwill towards the end of the season. Certainly Badia Shields. So they were even in and out was Gusto, Reece James.
You guys
So
can continue. I'll be back for in a second.
yeah, yeah. So there's sense in that. I hope that's the case because Chalaba, although Chalaba himself didn't really play that much, but Chalaba right now certainly is Chelsea's best centre back, and selling him for me doesn't make any sense, especially with the team trying to learn a new system all over the place. They are. Um, it's a weird one. It is. It is. Yeah. We know we have a lot of work to do. We know this. We know this. And as I keep saying, it's not over, but the season is upon us. And it's a very ruthless, unforgiving season for those that are not prepared for it.
Yeah, so Bobby, I have said that, and a few people took that in a wrong way. That I have said that. I try to say what I see, right? Everyone has their own opinion. I said that according to my understanding of the game and the situation, I think this will be a rebuild. And some of them thought that I'm being negative. I'm not being negative. I just think where we are, given the ground realities, this season will be a rebuild, in my opinion. So my expectation is low, and I think everyone is entitled. And it's better to understand. If you understand the situation, you won't be hurt. You won't have unnecessary expectation. If we achieve anything above, let's say we finish top four, that's a plus in my opinion, right? It's nothing to be negative or to be overcritical. As you said, that this could be a very tricky season. And yes, it is unfortunate that for the third season, we might be going in a season, or we might have a season where we won't finish where we want. But we have to understand that this is where we are right now. And again, the change of management did not help. But as long as we can progress, as long as we can get something out of it, maybe a cup, or if you talk about non-sporting achievements, something that we can say, okay, the team has an identity. Personally, I'm fine with that because I know this is a rebuild. So let's hope at best that this is the last season of this rebuild, and from next season we can start challenging for major things. So this is my opinion. What do you have to say on that?
Sorry, I was just trying to unmute. Yeah, I dread to say it, but I think you're right. The deep concern is, can we afford to rebuild yet again? I don't think so. We can't really afford not to be in the Champions League at the beginning of next season. Um, if it happens, we'll deal with it, but it's not good for the financial position of the model, the status of the club, and the readiness of us to be self-sustaining, and indeed maybe even the morale of some of our players. Um, so I'm hoping that somehow Maresca can pull the rabbit out of the hat, and we learn quickly because we're going to have to. We haven't even finished our transfer market. Samu coming, and all these are all new players to a new system, to a new team, to a new coach. So they're going to need time to settle. You saw what happened the last time with these new players. They didn't really settle till about the last 2, 3 weeks of the season. Um, so I don't know. I have some concerns, but we live in hope.
So if we see technically, and of course hypothetically, let's say for an argument that City, Arsenal, or Arsenal, City in no particular order. Of course, nothing is given, but let's say, as I say, for an argument, they'll finish in the top two. Either it's City, Arsenal, or if Arsenal wins the league after 21 years, Arsenal, City, which is likely. Like these two teams will be in the top two. So I'm just saying, let's assume. So, Champions League spot, two spaces will be left. That is third and fourth. And for third and fourth position, six teams, in my opinion, will be fighting: Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham Hotspur, Newcastle United, and Aston Villa. So it's not that simple. And at the same time, not for Chelsea, but also for our rivals that I mentioned. So this season, six teams will be fighting for the top six. Sorry, for the top four position. So the Premier League is getting intense each year, and the main concern that I have is if you go in a deficit after, let's say, 7, 8, 10 games, you are lagging, you are like 7, 8, 9 points behind top four, then it's really difficult. Of course, everything is possible. You can have a great consistency, but you don't want to be in a position, as you said, come November, and you're around eighth. So, as you were talking that we need to be in the UCL, I concur. I completely understand. I want nothing else but a UCL position. But given the ground realities, the situation we observe in the preseason, which of course does not completely reflect what is going to happen in the upcoming season, but we can see the limitations, some weaknesses. And as football analysts, we can see more often, that it will take some time. How much? We don't know. It could be a month, it could be 6 months. So if you see, this is, as an analyst, this is how I'm trying to think. So I hope we can start well. I hope we can have a momentum. I'm not expecting a lot, but at the same time, if we have all these issues with the defense, with the positional aspects, and not taking chances, then I think it will be very difficult for us to finish in the top four. So you can add your opinion to that. And what do you think about Modric from yesterday's game and the preseason?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go back to front. Modric is a concern. I haven't seen any improvement on him since last season, um, through this preseason, apart from his hairstyle. I just don't see anything in him so far that's going to tell me that he's a player that we're going to be able to rely on. Um, I don't know. I've seen a preseason that we went through, and I think we nearly lost every single game, and went on the next season to win the league. Preseason is no indicator exactly as to what you're going to do in the next season. Um, However, it tends to reveal certain players that um, that will become key or very important to us. Like I remember the preseason of Antonio Conte, where Victor Moses, although we all knew he was a good player, and he had always been a good player um, under various managers, but the system, the wing back system that that Conte adopted ended up being something that was going to be very important for uh, the way Victor Moses played. And he did very well in the preseason. And I think that may have been the preseason that just didn't go fantastically. So I don't know. Football is not always. That's why I kind of run away from overt predictions because things can change very quickly in football. A week is a long time in football. One week you could be looking like you should be relegated. The next week you can be looking like you should be champions. That's how football is. So I don't want to um, start now to predict or preempt the fortunes of this team. What I do, and I'm only speaking for myself, is I try to recognize where work needs to be done. And there is a lot of work that needs to be done, defensively, whether it's putting in the right personnel to be commanding in the centre back positions, whether it's to get these players to understand the system, play it better, whatever. All I know is that they have to be rehearsing their drills effectively on the training ground now that they're back home at Cobham. Um, and we'll take it from there. The season is upon us, really. So there isn't really that much time to be uh, totally fluid with what the manager wants. But would that have ever been the case? I'm not sure. If you look at the time he started, the players he's had, we've been quite fortunate that a lot of the players that may have gone to the Euros as soon as they were fit didn't, which I think is a good thing. So they had time to settle in and to try and get that little extra of understanding of what the manager wants. But you've got to be fit enough to play it, and at the moment they're not. I kind of overheard what Gavin was saying about Reece James in the game, that he was, very sharp and doing things, and well, that's good. That means he's that little bit closer to his fitness. So we have to see. We have to wait and see. Everybody knows Chelsea's high stakes. Always has been, always will be. So they know that, they're not there to joke. They're there to hit the ground running. And let's see if they can.
So one interesting, you can say, a good headache for the manager will be when, of course, Kukurea and Palmer did not go. Uh, we can understand why, and it's great they took a rest, and they didn't need the physicality or the to get match fitness because they played an entire month in Euros. So when I'm assuming, or most of the fans are assuming that when I mean with Kukurea, he will start, and it might not be the case anyway. So I'm assuming that he might start as the, and which he should, in my opinion, as the first choice left back. And right now, Gusto and Reece James are both playing in the preseason. So let's say if Kuko starts as a left back, then I believe that he will have to choose either James and Gusto. How do you see? Basically, the question is, how do you see the first 11 generally? With the back four, with Coco coming back and also Palmer. When Palmer will be back, in which position do you see him playing?
Well, in the first few games of the season, I don't see them as being fit, to be honest. Cucurella, I'll be very, very surprised if he's fit enough for that first game. And he's always got a mistake in him as well. So you put an unfit Cucurella in that position, and he's going to make some mistakes. That's what he does. Cole Palmer, well, another one. Will he be fit enough for the season? He's been away on holiday. I don't think he will either. But the others that have had the benefit of pre-season are going to have to be used. Like Noni, um, and so on. I don't know who. What's his name? The kid that we got from the kid that coach likes a lot, tall kid. He may have
Marco,
the one we bought.
KDH.
Renato
Okay.
Renato Vega.
Yes.
He may need to start because and then Cucurella come on later or vice versa. He'll have to do things like that. Reece James ain't starting anyway, suspended for the next 3 games. So that picks itself. But there's
Oh,
Fafana.
oh, I forgot about the suspension. Yes, so he won't be available for the next 3 games.
No, he won't. And there's Fafana. He may need to somewhat rotate with Gusto, but Fafana's not fit really, and I don't see 2 weeks as being enough to get him up to match speed. So we are not in a great place, so to speak. But you can these are, as I said in football, a week is a long time. You can do a lot with these players in a week. They won't be perfect, but once they understand at least the basics of what they need to do, these are top rate footballers. The rest will come, and bit by bit, they start sharpening the drills as they go along because they're going to have to. They're not going to have those drills ready by the City game. That's really expecting a lot.
So we have two strikers right now with Mark Gui and the striker from Atletico Madrid. Um,
Yeah.
I believe they will send one on loan. And the second part of this, you can say, question is that what do you think about that? I think they will either send one of them on loan. And do you think
Why?
now having two strikers, although both of them new, very young, do you think there's still a chance that we might go for Austin?
First of all, having two strikers is perfectly normal, and a Meridian isn't going to come and start ripping up trees. I think Gui is well ahead of him because Gui has already spent a preseason with Maresca. So I don't see the sense of sending. It's going to have to be Gui on loan. I don't see that being a sensible option. However, if they bring in Osimen, then that's another dimension that in reality probably would threaten Gui and may see him um, being sent on loan, which would be a shame for the lad because I think the lad is good enough to compete for his side in a season such as this, which is going to be littered with games. Hopefully, if we progress in cup competitions, that he will certainly get to play. So, and he's probably suited to play that way, to have him for these cups, and rather than the hurly burly of the Premier League. Whereas the player like Amoruddin and Osimhen, if they're not involved in the Premier League, they may feel a little bit put out. I don't know. I don't know. At the moment, we're in an advantage position for Osimhen. Napoli are desperate to get rid of him. We're not desperate to have him, although we would like to get rid of Lukaku, but we don't have to. And they're desperate for Lukaku because um, Conte has prepared his whole strike force for him. And you know how Antonio Conte is. If you promise him a player and you don't deliver to him, he gets really upset and usually ends up walking out. So they're going to be panicking right now. They've got this ridiculous price tag, which drove away PSG. And now Chelsea's saying, well, we're not paying that. We don't need to pay that. Either maybe you can give him to us on loan for Lukaku. I think it's advantage Chelsea in that deal now. It's very, very much advantage Chelsea, unless they decide to say, okay, PSG, you take him, we'll reduce the price. You know, I really don't know. I'm not sure if I care. All I know is that the pressure is on them, and the onus to provide a favorable deal all round is on them.
That's a very good point, very well explained, and yeah, that's a great thinking. Given the fact that we have already the players, and the as you said, the requirement for Lukaku and the request made by Conte and how he is, we have known not just at Chelsea but all the other clubs he has represented. So I hope we can capitalize on that if given the opportunity. So one important question, Bobby, is the pitch, the playing condition in US. Do you believe that it perhaps did not help because we are in a way rebuilding with this new methodology, players coming back from injury? I believe there is a certain degree to that, like the players were either told or by themselves were a bit careful. If anything, I think that's great, to avoid the injury. So maybe the overall performance or some of the issues as far as the performance and the progress that we saw had to do with the pitch and had to do with our history of injuries. What do you have to say on that?
I have to agree 100%. I think the state of the pitch wasn't encouraging for a team with players trying to find their fitness again. I think it really affected them and affected the way they played. Teams that were already settled, like Real Madrid, Man City, they just knew what they needed to do, um, and got on with it. But a lot of these players still learning what to do, and still recovering, and then you're playing on a dry pitch that can give you an injury if you stretch yourself too much in a certain way, because you're not going to slide, you might just come up short. And it didn't help at all. And this is the problem with these US trips. They're not really stadiums that are cut out for football or soccer, as they call it. Their stadiums are more cut out for their football. And maybe in their football, it's more to their advantage if the pitch is dry, because it's more about just knocking into each other. So yeah, I don't think that particularly helped. And Maresca said it, the players said it, but what's done is done. Whatever happens, at least they've had some sort of exposure to each other, to football, and to the coach. So ultimately, it's not wasted, and the results are meaningless. So um, we march on.
So, of course, we are trying to cover the preseason and everything that comes with that moving into the season. So, your thoughts on Enzo Fernandez? Like, I hope apparently like all the things, all those things that happen. I believe that is gone, and it's good to see him playing and everyone apparently being okay, and it doesn't reflect on the pitch. So, as far as performance goes, how satisfied are you with Enzo Fernandez?
Um, First of all, I mean, as far as all that stuff is concerned, I think it's done with. I think the only people bothered about it are maybe the fans. I don't see that in any of the players at all. They've all moved on. You can see it, but from the camaraderie, he wore the captain's armband. He's taking pictures with the team on the plane, and there's no issues there. No issues other than can happen when you're playing football competitively with people and you want to win. So we've moved on from that. I mean, Enzo himself is looking to find his fitness. He had a few opportunities to score. I think he cherished having the armband. I was happy to see him with the armband because, in my view, I don't think we should have an injury prone captain and an injury prone vice captain. It's just not going to wash. So, he's him perhaps taking over the Gallagher position, who came in whenever both Reece James and Ben Chilwell were injured. Not that I hope that happens this season at all, but it makes sense to me. It really does, and he took to it well. And it wouldn't surprise me if at some point in the near future he is a Chelsea captain or vice captain, because it was always said that he would be one of the building blocks on which this new team is uh, is made. So yeah, I mean Enzo is Chelsea right now, and long may that continue. I don't see any problem with him. He seems happy at the club. He's said his apologies. He's made his pledge to charity. I mean, in fact, I would be upset if it persists. Both of us know in this day and age where there are people, there are politicians, there are people out there in the world trying to be invested in dividing us, in making us hate each other, in bringing up matters of race, gender, religion, and using it to bang people's heads together. I don't think it's healthy. I think we've got to acknowledge that sometimes people say things out of ignorance. Ignorance fosters insensitivity. What may be a joke to you may be very hurtful to somebody else who has a certain lived experience. And that's where, what I feel about all this woke ideology. I've got no time for it. But I do understand that we're in a world where we have so many different people, so many different histories, so many different graduation from different oppressive experiences. And we have to respect that. What I think is funny, or the privileges I may enjoy in this world, some people may not enjoy them. And if I, because I don't understand their plight or their culture or their experience, if I sort of make fun of them, or elaborate on certain aspects of their character or appearance, that yeah, in my culture it may be funny, but in their culture it's not funny. It's them, and it's offensive. So I think as civilized human beings, we need to learn now to imbibe that in future um, interactions, in future adaptations in life. And indeed, as believers, as Christians, that's what we're meant to be about anyway. That idea of embracing people and not condemning people. So for me, the Enzo matter is done. If Enzo was showing himself to be, some racist, nasty fella who, had no time for his teammates because of the color of their skin, or rejected fans because of, they don't look the part, I would have a problem with that. But the kid is not. He made a stupid mistake. And even to elaborate the fact that it was a mistake, the kid was filming it. Think about that. He was filming it. So he was totally unaware of the gravity of his ways. And as soon as he was made aware, he was unrelentlessly repentant. In my view, it's forgiven, done, over. And I think the rest of the squad feel exactly the same. Look at how they interact with him. They still respect him when he wore the armband. They've moved on, and I'm so glad they have, because it's not necessary to keep on about it. It's just my opinion.
I'm not gonna what you said about Enzo, because I'm gonna go back again for about 5 more minutes. I got a solo guy outside, but I'm listening to the conversation, and I really enjoy it, and I really appreciate both of you guys. But with Enzo though, the players yesterday was throwing arms around him, behind the scenes, stuff that
There you go.
people don't see, and when he was talking to them and giving out instruction, they definitely was listening. There were I didn't see any bad vibes. I didn't see any, thing that I can say that will cause a conflict in the dressing room. Other from Nani Madueke, as I said, the only attitude I saw on the pitch, Nani Madueke, one at a time, I think Christopher Nkuku seems like he was upset because Nani keep on fanning his hand, disrespectful to me, of course, when he don't get his pass. Broja didn't even change. He wasn't even on the bench. So I definitely know that Broja is not good. It doesn't look like he's a part of the team at all.
I'm so glad to hear it, Gavin. I'm glad you were an eyewitness to it all. I was 21 at one time, although if you ask my kids, they'll never believe you. And I did some very silly things. I was silly. I would hurt people with maybe some of my words, ignorantly. And you look back and you're like, okay, now I know better. But then you get caught up in the spirit of the moment, especially when you're with your friends and you've had a few drinks and you just get silly. That's what young men do. And that's all part of maturing and growing up. So I'm so glad that he's, reintegrated properly into the team. He's an excellent player. He's a team player. He's not a malicious lad. I haven't seen that in him. Gavin is has seen it firsthand, and I think it's okay. I think it's enough. I think as fans, we should just get behind him now and move on as well.
Yes, and also last year he showed a lot of attributes that he could be a future captain.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
Yep. So he has it in him naturally. And yes, as you said, he has conducted himself very well, very well spoken, and yeah. Um, and we, I think we both can understand all these, things that goes and how people take advantage of that. So it's great because Govan just saw the game, and it really feels great, because it's the last thing we would want is division, and especially a player like Enzo who, and for him it would be also unfair. Yes, he made a mistake, but to make label him as something or just to boycott him or neglect him is also, I mean, would be very harsh and not fair on him to improve himself or to, I mean, what motivation would he had if he would have treated in a different way that, okay, I'm extending my arm. What about the other person? Okay, just because I said something, okay, that was not acceptable at all. But if I have to improve, what are my opportunities? So it's great that Chelsea Football Club is being very professional. That's the great strength of Chelsea, being very inclusive, very professional, and that's a great. And Bobby, you said at that time that Enzo, I don't remember the words. I'm paraphrasing. You said that it's great that Enzo is at Chelsea, and this is the best place to improve overall his to I mean to go through this process in the best way possible being at Chelsea.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He will certainly learn interpersonal skills and relationships at Chelsea for sure. Look at our team. We have such a vast array of multinational, multicultural individuals, and we're all there as one, fighting under the same umbrella. I think that's a wonderful thing. However, you've turned my mind to something which is it's funny, but yet it's not funny because I think opposing fans can be cruel. I hope he's prepared for this because some of them are going to use this to jeer him. Imagine going to Tottenham or to Arsenal, all these places. That fan or West Ham, that fan base are going to be singing songs trying to call him a racist or something like that. But as long as it's rival fans and not us, I guess he'll be able to
No, I fully expect Chelsea fans to be behind him. I think Chelsea fans love him. The last year, especially, he was one of the fan favorites. So, and of course, Chelsea fans as a whole, of course, are they understand the situation. They are from the the location where they are from. Match going fans, especially from London, I'm sure they will deal with it in a very professional way. And of course, it's up to Enzo, how he conduct himself and the way he's playing uh, will only help, if anything, if it's still required to get back or connect with the fans, I think it will be done very quickly. And him getting the armband, I think I was getting emotional. That's a great gesture to give him, and I'm sure it would have mean the world to him, knowing where he was a month ago or 3 weeks ago, and now he got the armband. I'm confident that he would take it with great pride and with great responsibility. So,
Yeah, I
Bobby,
mean,
yeah, please go ahead.
there's no better. Yeah, there was no better way at the time for the club to tell him, well, and the players to tell him that, we've forgotten about this. And of course, it will mean a lot to him. I don't think any player uh, looked in opposition to that decision at all. If anything, they encouraged it. And as Gavin, who was there and saw them in the flesh, saw how they responded to it. So that's saying apology accepted, in my view.
So moving to Lavia, I mean, in my opinion, a lot of fans, that he has been one of our standout players. Of course, he only played for what 40 odd minutes last season, so I think he has shown his capabilities. Of course, still very new, but in Maresca's style, and he already like played with Maresca a few years ago. So how happy you are seeing Lavia, because it feels like all these players are like new signings for us.
Mm. Yeah, just a point of correction. Lavia played all of 35 minutes last season, probably less. But yeah, I mean, I think he still has a way to go with his fitness. I don't think he's quite there. Yes, he's at least he's had the exercise, and Maresca has made sure of that. But I don't think he's fully fit either. He's has made some mistakes, some errors at the back, giving the ball away and things like that, and that will only be fixed with match fitness. But it's great to see him back. He's one of the players. He's certainly one of the players we've missed, and I hope and pray he stays fit and gives us a full season, showing us exactly what he can do and what we missed the last season without him.
Yes. So there's both excitement and concern moving into the next season. I think what I like is the patterns. Especially in the tag with the ball, I see more patterns. In the first few games than it was. Maybe we should not compare anyway. So like the patterns are there, which were not there really, especially in the season. Again, it's early times. At the same time, I understand we should not criticize or based our judgment of what the entire season will be, but at the same time it's also not, you can say, objective to be very excited or positive just based on some of the things we have seen. But because we are talking, or we are trying to find out the things we can get excited about, in almost all of the games there have been some really good patterns of in attack, the way they moved the ball, kept the ball, and the players, how they moved, especially from the midfield to the attack without going back, and everyone knew their. I mean, I'm talking about the instances, of course. If it was that good, we could have already done better. But I'm saying there are patterns. We understand it's a rebuild, or it's kind of a rebuild with a new manager. But the attacking, also yesterday, because you didn't see the game, we were really good in creating the chances, and I'm sure you have seen it against Man City. So that's a positive. That's a great positive. I think given our midfield and the forwards, I think we do have great scope to further improve. But at the end of the day, Bobby, like all the chances needs to be taken, and that was the issue last season under Pochettino.
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go in a few minutes, but yeah, you're 100% right. There have been episodes of very, very interesting and nice patterns of play. Um, but the finishing problem has got to stop. We can't be doing this anymore. We did that all last season. We can't start again with that. And that's why I'm totally against Raheem Sterling, because to me, that's his game. He fluffs his chances more often than he'll score them. But yeah, the patterns of play. Look, these are very good players. You know, if they get their thing going, they're going to be quite formidable. But the understanding, it's not so much the on the ball um, a progression that they were not so good at, because they were good at that. But football is very much about your off the ball, certainly at this level, your off the ball performances. And that's where the problem was, you know, the gaps in the wing back position, the lethargy in the centre back position, all that sort of thing, you know, misplaced passes from midfield. That's the problem. And that just shows they were not rehearsed, because at this level, you know, you should know, you know, where your colleague is, how and when to pass, and these things are just not yet drilled. But it's not over yet. I don't feel the team is doomed. I think they're more than capable. It's just the time factor, you know, getting themselves in the groove as quickly as possible, because the season is already upon us. Games will be coming, and there's really no time to learn. So they need to know what they're doing sooner rather than later.
Bobby, I believe you said that you have to go. But feel free to let us know if you're still here, then we can, of course, continue the conversation. Galvin is, of course, doing something, so he requested that we can continue the talk. So we fully understand the schedule, so do let me know whenever you have to go. So,
Yeah, I'll be listening, but as always, I always appreciate coming on
okay,
and
so
chatting
Bobby,
with you guys.
before you go, I always ask for your final words. So, what are your final words for today?
All I'll say is we're back home now, and it's work, work, work time. I think Maresca knows that. You know, these boys have to get onto the training ground. They've got to do their rehearsals. I don't know when Cucurella and Palmer will be joining up with the rest of the team. It can't be much longer. Probably sometime this week, I would expect. And they have to get on with their drills. They've got to work on their fitness. I think they have another friendly at home this weekend, which will be another good exercise for them. And then the following weekend is Man City. Look, there's time to do enough to be able to present a fairly decent challenge to Man City. You know, they themselves need to get themselves in some sort of shape, but Man City tend to be slow starters because they're well rehearsed. They know what they're doing anyway. So it wouldn't bother them if they even lost at the bridge in their first game. They will always feel confident and able to come back. So it's us now. It's all down to us. If our dear friend Omorion is signed up, he's going to have to get on that training field pretty quick if he needs to catch up with what's going on, and I'm sure he will. Okay, guys. As I said, I'll be listening in,
Yeah,
and
thank you, Bobby, so much. Thank you so much for your time. Always, it's a pleasure.
thank you.
Thank,
Thanks for having
thank
me.
you, sir, Bobby. It's an honor, sir.
Thanks, Gavin. Thank you, guys. Catch you.
Yeah, Jersey. Any final words? Cause I'm gonna have to wrap up because I got the guy gonna put up a solo on the house. You know, the solo.
No, sure.
Barbecue.
It has been a great stream as usual. We talked in depth on the preseason strength, weaknesses, the different players. So I'm very excited, of course, as a Chelsea fan for the upcoming season. Hopefully, these issues can be addressed, but of course there are still some positives. So it's a situation where you don't know, it's a uncharted territory, and it is exciting in a way, right? It is exciting.
It
So yeah, I'm
is.
really looking forward to the season. As always, once once the season starts, when the game time starts, Gavin, you know me very well that I am all in, and I hope the players and the manager will also be all in. So yeah, Gavin, your final words before we wrap up the show.
Yeah, I just want to say, it was a joy to go there and watch a huge game like that. Chelsea, Real Madrid, to historical club. It's really an honor, to really sit there and watch it. Watch Dan, Carlo Ancelotti. The man is just a man. He's just one of the nicest person you can ever know. The way how he approached the game, and the way how he approached Enzo when he saw him. The big hugs and laughter, and you know showing him some stuff before the games behind the scene before we go live. And it's little stuff like that. The atmosphere. It's just a joy. It's just a joy, to be quite honest. And the way I saw Rudiger, was even trying to talk to some of the Chelsea players and showing them some little stuff, and laughing. And it was a joy, honestly. It was a joy. So I'm grateful, that I live to see something like this. Hope I live to see many, many more. It's great moments, and I appreciate every single step of the way, and I really appreciate you. I really appreciate Sir Bobby, and everyone in this community that for the support, always been supporting me, not only my channel, but your channel, Thai channel, Coach's channel, Tobago's channel, name it. I'm really happy, to know that we're building this community. And I got a little hiccup with YouTube, but I'm bouncing back from it. So, it's just a joy. It's just really a joy. And I'm glad to be here and to share these moments with you guys. And for each and everyone out there, I'm just saying, just believe in whatever you do and just believe in yourself, and never give up. Because when you give up, you don't stand a chance. But when you're stuck in, there always hope. So my biggest thing today is hope, and believe in yourself, and believe in your dreams and your goal, and follow your dreams and work hard, and you will succeed whatever you want to take in life. So that's my final words. I thank you guys for being here and watching. Anything else, Jersey?
No, great words, and of course, you have given me a lot of encouragement. Gavan is amazing, so is Bobby, to great individuals in our community who would direct you, with positive energy, with the right direction. And again, Gavan, you have been instrumental, for me to keep up, with my endeavors and my uh, dream, you can say, when I was at the time when I was thinking to quit. So a big thank you. So I wanted to say it in front of the public, because Garvin don't just say it, he mean it, and he always try to get the best out of you, to help you to further improve yourself and to give you the encouragement, the motivation with the right direction. So thank you, Garvin. You are like one of the I would say unique and positive people who just don't say it but would literally help you to get out of a difficult phase. And so is Bobby, you know. So thank you so much. And yes, 10 days left for the season to start. Come on, you Blues!
Come on, you Blues. I'll call you in a few, Jersey.